So we need, in the payments table, we need the order ID, the transaction ID, and the payment date. So to here we need to say payment date, payment underscore date. So we need to create a variable called payment date. I'm going to say here payment underscore date, and it's going to be equal to date, and then you can format this date, year, and month, and day. So this is going to add this, and we need to say values, and the values are question marks. We need 3 question marks, question mark, question mark, question mark, and then in a new line we need to say statement 1, and then bind param, and then we want to bind the order ID is I, the transaction ID is S. This is very important. The transaction ID is going to be a string. So PayPal returns a transaction ID in a form of string. It's not an ID. It's not an ID. You should use S because it's not an ID. It's not an integer. It's a string. The payment date is S, obviously S. So we need to say here order ID, and then transaction ID, transaction underscore ID, and then payment date. However, we don't have a transaction ID variable, so we need to create a variable here. We need to say transaction underscore ID is equal to get, and then transaction ID. And we execute this query as well. We say statement and then execute, and that's it. After we execute this second query, all we need to do now is to take the user to a new page that would display thank you for your shopping. So here all I'm going to do is that I'm going to say header, and then I'm going to say location, and then order confirmation, or thank you. You can say thank you. Let's say thank underscore you dot php, or order confirmation, whatever you want to say. So I'm going to say here thank you, and then I'm going to pass a message. I'm going to say message success message is equal to thanks for shopping with us. And finally we need to exit here. Else, if user comes to this page by mistake, or if there is any other problem, we need here to take the user to the home page immediately and do nothing. We just take the user away from this page. We need to say location index.php and exit. And that's it. Now let's create the thank you page. So the thank you page is going to be very similar to the payment page except for a few things. So I'm going to copy the code from the payment page, and then I'm going to create a new page here called thank you.php, and then I'm going to paste the code here, and then we need to remove the PayPal code here. We need to remove this code, and then we need to remove PayPal button here and the amount. Actually we need just to remove the PayPal button, and at the top we need to check whether here we need to say PHP, and then we need to check whether user made an order or not. So we should say here if the order ID and this code, actually instead of doing all of this, I'm going to copy all of this code, and then I'm going to here paste it, and then we also need to I think that's it. Here we don't need to do anything else. We just need to check this, and then we need to store the order ID, order underscore ID, in a variable called order ID. So I'm going to say session order ID, order underscore ID is equal to order ID, and also we need to store the total. I'm going to say total is equal to total, and that's it. If you want to display the other information such as the cart, I don't think there is a reason to do this, but if you want, for some reason, you can say products bought, and then you can say session and then cart, and then you can use this later. But after this, here what we want to do is that we want to remove everything from session, because at this point payment has been accepted and order has been issued, everything is fine. So here we need to unset session. Remember here in the cart we had a code like this. Let me just I want you to pay attention to this here. Whenever we removed something from the cart, we said session unset session cart and then the product ID. Here we are doing the same. We are saying here session unset and then cart. However, we don't want to, instead of removing every single thing using the unset, we can use a function called here session destroy, and this is gonna remove everything from the session. And also I think there is a great function called session unset. We can say session unset first, session unset, and then session destroy. These two functions will destroy everything and remove everything from the session without the need of destroying or removing every single thing from the cart and from the session. And that's it. Now here we no longer need this code. Instead, we just need to display the here we need to remove this. Instead, what we want to do is that we want here we need to say else. By the way, we need here to say else. Else we just take the user to the home page. Else we say in the header location index.php, and by the way, we have a success message. Remember, we have here a success message in the complete payment, which is the message to display this as well. So here what I'm going to do is that I'm going to say echo, and then what I'm going to echo is that I'm going to echo the order ID. I'm going to say here echo order ID, and I'm going to say here PHP. First I'm going to say order ID here, order underscore order ID first here I'm going to say order ID, and then append order ID, and then I'm going to say PHP, and then I'm going to tell the user please keep order ID in save place for future inquiries or future reference. And we also need to say here thanks for shopping with us. We can say here PHP, and then if is